allow me to invite the presenters for this session. We are having Omukungu Chiwalabye Male, who is the CEO of Buganda Land Board. And as you've heard, this is a session on Kyapa Mungalo, and is therefore the expert on this topic. I would like to also invite Mr. Robert Opio. He's a Commissioner Land Registration in the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, who has been a very good partner in the implementation of Kyapa Mungalo. So if you can also please join us here. And finally, I would also like to invite Muchala Mastula Nachisozi. I wonder if she's around. Yes. Sure. This is a good beneficiary of Kyapa Mungalo and a community leader who will also be sharing with us her experience with interacting with Kyapa Mungalo. I am aware that we have had a very long day, and that as we come into this session, that some people, I understand, were already ready to go. But it's going to be a very interesting session, I can assure you. And without much further ado, allow me to introduce our first speaker, Omukungu Chiwalabye Male, who is the CEO of Buganda Land Board. He will be sharing with us the lessons, the best practices, the challenges, and so many other things regarding Kyapa Mungalo. First of all, maybe he'll first tell us what Kyapa Mungalo is, and then go ahead to share what we are expecting to hear, to know how we can overcome some of the challenges that we are facing in managing land conflict in Buganda and beyond. Thank you very much. Omukungu Chiwalabye Male, please take the floor.
Thank you, Owechitiibwa. I think I'll go over the podium there since I've got some slides to present. Good evening, everyone. Welcome you to Kyapa Mungalo presentation, or a title in your own hands. I've already been introduced. I'm in charge of managing Buganda Land Board as the managing director, and we were asked to share our experiences as far as Kyapa Mungalo is concerned, which is now a popular phrase. Once you say Kyapa Mungalo, even if you don't even change it in English, everybody knows that now you're talking about land. Buganda Land Board is a corporate body mandated by Buganda Kingdom to manage this land, and this land is in excess of 1,000 square miles throughout the kingdom. And this land ranges from that which was returned in 1993 to that one returned in 2013. And our vision as Buganda Land Board, we say every piece of land as an asset to the registered owner. And please note, the registered owner and being an asset. And our mission is ensuring sustainable and optimum utilization of land, secure tenants to achieve financial and economic independence for the communities. As you see in our vision and mission, all is towards mobilizing the communities towards economic enhancement. And BLB, which is Buganda Land Board, operates under a board of directors appointed by the Kabaka of Buganda. What you need to know about Kabaka's land that's spread all over the 18 counties of the kingdom, and our role as Buganda Land Board is to regularize all lawful tenants on Kabaka's land, to help to provide them with authentic documentation and follow up through the process of acquiring leasehold titles at the end of the day. And please note, this exercise is voluntary. Nobody is pushed to acquire a title on Kabaka's land. When you talk about Kabaka's land, originally under the 350 square miles, Kabaka's land was comprising like 70% of the whole land holdings in Uganda. If you add on the returned estate of 2013, then we can move to around over 10%. So there's always that popular view that Kabaka holds the biggest chunk of land. I want to assure you 90% of the land is outside the Kabaka's docket and control. Though much of the attention and influence and discussion is largely on Kabaka's land, largely because of its being central and being strategic. And as I said, all these processes are voluntary. Our mandate as Buganda Land Board, we don't give out land in perpetuity, because this land belongs to an institution. For generations to come, this land must be available. So that's why we offer leases for periods ranging between 49 to 99 years. And we work with various authorities to ensure that these processes are legal and lawful. The local leaders and Kabaka chiefs are central in the management of Kabaka's land. Anybody to settle on Kabaka's land, the Mutongole, the local chief and the parish chief must append their signatures to those kind of consent documents. And this is a traditional system we are following, but also practically, those who have got quite some good chunks of land, you are free to also to appoint your agent, and these chiefs act as Kabaka's agents, and they do it on his behalf under an authorized arrangement. Of course, there are opportunities for local investors and foreign investors to work with the BLB to enhance development on Kabaka's land, and the thorough process is followed through, and quite a number of establishments are on Kabaka's land. I will not go into the details of where this land is. You know, there's that popular phrase, where is Akenda? So, but this Kabaka's land is all over. When we talk about those who stay in Makindi, Sabagawo, the whole of that is Kabaka's land. When you talk about Nansana municipality, all that is one title, block 203. When you talk about Chigokazi, Busava, all that stretch up to Munyonyo, that's Kabaka's land. For those who stay in the urban area, and that's, I think, around 7,000 acres. So Kabaka's land is all over. It's all over. So it's a matter of going on our BLB website, log into our client charter, and identify yourself where you are. What was our rationale for Kyapa Mungalo? Kyapa Mungalo, at the time of launching it, we had conducted a mass registration campaign, which entered into a massive survey, and we had registered over 130,000 clients. And with this, we normally pride ourselves as the only landlord in the country with a Chibanja register, with the numbers. If somebody is buying a Chibanja on Kabaka's land and you want to prove whether that Chibanja holder is lawful, you come and do a search with our offices. So we registered over 130, but we moved on to do a survey, again, which was a massive survey where people were paying 600,000 to survey the Abibanja, and this was done only in Busiro and Chadondo. Those who were not familiar with this, it was in Kampala and Wakiso, and parts of Greater Wakiso. And I would also like to emphasize that all of these processes were voluntary. Voluntary. Because if they were not voluntary, over 7 million people on Kabaka's land would not be having 130,000 if it was involuntary. So these are the people who saw the light as we are talking about this. Others are still waiting to see the light, and they come in every other day. A campaign which was labeled Kyapa Mungalo was commissioned, and this was basically a phrase or a catchword, which was simply saying that you have a title in your hands. And this was meant to enable people get titles at highly discounted rates. It is a popular view that land is expensive, and the processes of regularization also happen to be at times quite high. So the premiums, the premium to be paid, we thought needed some adjustment. Those who could come in, and our view in the kingdom was that, and it was working with the land economics, that when people get titles, they enhance the value of their properties. And it is a global trend. All countries which have developed have gone through the mortgage market. That's why when you talk to the bank, how long it takes to get a print. So our aim was strengthening security of tenure in line with the various land laws and regulations. And the campaign was directed towards issuing leasehold certificates of title to all interested tenants on Kabaka's land at subsidized cost, and this was not to segregate anyone as long as you fulfilled those initial obligations. And it's a fact, the lawyers know, that the most distinct proof of land ownership in the courts of law is a land title. And there is no way we could not allow Kabaka's subjects to acquire titles. But this also was in accordance with the practice that describes tenants in the Buganda Kingdom as either a chibanja or leasehold as stipulated in the Land Act. The campaign was for 6 months, campaign which started in April 2018, which started in October 2017 and ended in April 2018. But with the overwhelming response from the tenants, it was extended to 31st Jan 2018. And with the Jubilee celebration, this offer was extended to 31st December 2018. Those who were in the country and those who were following probably on various media forums, there was a time we spent a lot of time trying to explain people that they are not going to lose land by getting titles. And a lot of time was spent on that. And people had to get paychecks to ensure that people don't get titles. So we lost some time. So by the time people started realizing that they were losing value, we started getting pressure. And as a result, the kingdom extended to ensure that many people get as many titles as possible. As probably the commissioner may hint on it, the whole country in Uganda, out of 37 million people, with over 7 million households, we have approximately 800,000 titles in the country. And when I talk about 800 titles, don't forget there are those who have got probably 1,000 titles. Even Kabaka's titles are quite in a massive number. So when you talk about 800,000, mitwalo chinana, we also include those who have got, some people own the whole of Lumu Street. Others own the whole of William. I saw the other day people were fighting for a bus park. And they just, 3 people closed the malls. And over 20,000 people were on the streets. So this, when we talk about 700,000, you may think that people in Mubende, in Mukono have titles. No, It's largely in the CBD here. So, as an institution and as a kingdom which was interested and still interested in having people develop, because very few people can develop if they don't have that statute of tenure. And that graph there shows, as you see it going up, right from the sales agreement, if the land you have transacted has got a sales agreement, it has some value. When it gets a registration certificate, the value goes. Deed plans, you see it going up to titles. So all that is a normal land economics. So, and the Kyapa Mungalo process flow, it was launched by the Katikkiro of Buganda, followed by media strategy that utilized the multi-channel approach in mobilizing tenants in the kingdom land. Tenants without files are required to present proof of ownership, agreements, or donation deeds on the land parcels they intend to register and get certificates of title. There will be existing tenants with deed prints present a proof of payment of assessed subsidized costs, including premium and title processing fees. Should be noted that we could not process, or we can't process for anyone unless there is a proof of ownership. The Kabaka's chiefs and your neighbors have got to assent that you are the rightful owner. And one of the things why we vehemently are pushing for people to get titles is to sort of reduce on conflicts. After the lease agreements have gone through the various procedures, the surveys, the prints are produced by the government. We, all of us under the RTA, all of us, we move to the commissioner, where all of us go to get the titles. You see, during the Kyapa Mungalo campaign, it was so amazing, where you could see people who are supposed to be issuing titles say, the Buganda board issues titles. And somebody stands in the camera. Then anyway, those are days. I think I don't need to go there because really it was a growing exercise to some people. I think that's why some people realize that the government issues titles. But there was a feeling that maybe in my drawer there, I get one, I issue, I get one, I sign, you go. The process had been made so simple. But from here, you have to go to the Ministry of Lands, because all the master titles, all the white page is with the government. And what we hold, we normally use the word, acquired a Kyapa original. That Kyapa is not original. It's duplicate. The original always remains there. So if you want to check, you cross over to lands and check whether the title, whether that person who's selling it to you has got a valid title. But there was that. And therefore, the titles the kingdom was issuing under Kyapa Mungalo were fake, illegal, and not valid. But as I've said, after paying the government taxes, you proceed to the government and get your title, and then you are free to use the title as you wish. The overwhelming response to the campaign with the number of tenants acquiring sole titles, which was over 5,000 in that period. When I talk of over 5,000, people who are not familiar with the land processes, they may think this is very little. But you may find a number of districts don't even have even 1,000 titles within their docket. And this is the contribution to the overall acreage of title land in Uganda. And this has reduced threats of eviction and has strengthened the collateral to access finance. Most of these land evictions you see, unless there is confusion and conflict, most of these evictions are being carried out where people don't have titles. And it's just strange. So that's why we say if you can elevate people to the level of having titles, maybe you can reduce on conflict. Days are gone where a Kasuku exercise paper holds a lot of meaning. I've seen people with just massive developments, but without land titles. And the challenge we have here in Uganda that the land with a title and land without a title almost have the same legal, not legal actually, but they almost kind of, in terms of practice, they have almost the same benefits. So, and at the same time, when people get titles, we know they have got access to the financing institutions to use their money as they may wish. The campaign contributed to increase the awareness on land matters. I was telling my colleagues that also these negative forces have also helped us to step up the sensitization, because at least many things were discussed. People were able to genuinely get on board. I think there wasn't any time people discussed land matters as during the Kyapa Mungalo period. I don't think. I know there are times when you had the land debate, the land act, but where you could feel people are all on board. So, really it created a lot of awareness, and also, whenever the other day somebody evicted people in Rusanja, and that's when I saw people writing on Facebook and social media, this is what Kyapa Mungalo was meaning. People surrounding the president, somebody has evicted us, but they don't have the papers. Yes, it's painful, but we must help people to acquire a little bit some kind of security. I don't mean that a Chibanja holder has no security, but they say at every stage in acquisition, whatever you get is important. If you did your certificate in a school, you cannot say that you don't care about a diploma. Neither can you say, I've got a diploma, I don't care about a degree. So at every level there are benefits. So we really need to, and this for us, it mobilizes our tenants. They are quite aware, and we are advising them wherever they are on people's land, they must work out and get the titles. Processing of leasehold titles contributes to the revenue in the government through payment of the various fees. And this contributes to the Ministry landscape objective of registering land rights for the people of Uganda. The campaign has addressed some of the issues brought about by several land reforms through the regulation of landlord-tenant relationship. We think if there is an amicable arrangement between a landlord and the tenant gets to enjoy part of his rights through an agreed arrangement, it reduces the kind of the conflict and the government regulation into the process. The campaign brought on board strategic partners BLB for continuous land awareness drives. The partners include those ones I've mentioned there, you see there, ActionAid, Transparency International, and the legal fraternity. And also the lease agreement. We were able to make now the leases automatic. When the lease expires, it is automatically renewed. This is a little bit different from the type of other leases people enjoy elsewhere. Because the other types of leases people enjoy, once the lease expires, that's the end of the day. But with the Kyapa Mungalo, we inserted a clause of automatic renewal. People who will be there at that time, 49, 99 years, somebody has just got to go, discuss the terms, and renew. Yet in leases, people would go on with the property which was there. And that was the biggest debate. And the kingdom opened the window to have leases, moved from 49 to 99 years.
5 minutes.
And what were our challenges? We realized that there was a high knowledge gap on land-related issues throughout the different categories of community. And this cuts across. Community members do not have adequate information on their rights and responsibilities concerning land matters in Uganda. Some the land laws in the country, and yet they volunteer to sensitize people on land rights. Somebody simply says, doesn't go into how and the Land Act is very clear. You cannot evict anybody unless you have somebody has accepted to go. But people are being evicted. So this results in giving wrong information to the people they lead, need for continuous sensitization and capacity building for the leaders. Politicizing land matters. Some people resort to diverting interventions that are designed to improve the well-being of the community members. Kyapa Mungalo campaign was aiming at giving clients from Kabaka's land to get titles. This was, we had to go into overdrive in the maximum sensitization. Of course, the systems in the ministries, I think, were also overwhelmed, and I think there's that kind of coordination. I remember one time I had a meeting with the Ministry of, twice actually, with the Ministry of Lands officials, including the PS and the Minister. And the debate was on Kyapa Mungalo. I think that was different, but finally when we met with the technocrats, the picture was more clear, because all of us were doing our different roles. The judicial systems, of course, that delays the rulings in conflicts also was a challenge. Some people could not get their titles because their cases are still taking long in court. And the belief that people will make titles in Mengo is just a challenge. And we need to continue sensitizing people that titles are made by the government and be able to know the type of titles. And of course, some gazetted areas like wetlands, people wanted to settle in them and get titles. That was a challenge to say we can't give you titles in wetlands. And lastly, some titles could not go in because they could not meet the requirements of the various planning regulations. Like in the Kampala area, those ones which are below 25 decimals could not be able to get the titles. Of course, the need to work together with government was crucial. We need to move on the same page, and the need for integrated joint awareness drives is crucial, and we are pushing on with that one. We enjoy that good kind of working relationship with the ministry. We have been in the Mubende, we have just come from Mukono Chagwe, and that's the way to go. And of course, need for proper resource allocations to ensure that land offices have the required supplies and manpower to reduce delays in the title issuance process. I don't think there is anybody here who has followed the land getting a title who has not struggled with it. Sometimes there is no power. If there is power, there is no cartridge. If there is a cartridge, there is no printer. If there is a printer, there is no cartographer. The story keeps changing. Then there is a cartographer coming from Entebbe. Then there is a zonal offices. The language keeps saying M zono, then zono. But that's the life we live in anyway. So, need for government to work with the stakeholders. There's one time I want to donate a printer to one survey office. They say, no, you can't donate. You have to go through the government process. Need to work with various stakeholders so that we facilitate the land acquisition process. The government needs to strictly come out with a judicial system which is tailored towards the land system, because it also causes challenges. If we can able to get electoral cases in, how many days is it? In 6 months to dispose them off, we can as well dispose of land cases in the shortest possible time. I know of a case where we have been in court for 10 years. If Kabaka can be in court for 10 years, then you just imagine other people down there. So this is somewhere where we need the government to intervene. And I would like to end there. I want to say that the Kyapa Mungalo was an eye-opener to BLB to realize how low we have been on the kind of awareness in terms of land matters, and also to realize that we need to get other people on board to ensure that people move towards gaining their economic independence. And once people have got titles, we think it is one of the important steps, and land is a factor in production which we need to highly support. I thank you very much. I thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mkungu Chwala Biemale. And I'd like to invite our next speaker, and is none other than Mr. Robert Opio from the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. And as the previous speaker has highlighted, he has been a crucial partner in the implementation of Kyapa Mungalo. Maybe you can talk more on what has how that partnership has worked for the Ministry of Lands.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Opio Robert. I'm the acting commissioner for land registration. We are to talk about the topic is the Kyapa Mungalo approach to tenure security in Buganda, a pathway to wealth creation. Now, I want to say in 1993, I was the desk officer for the return of a Biafra. If you checked in those titles, I'm not sure whether there is another signature on them. If they are there, maybe recently. Now, in Buganda, when you come here, there are many words you encounter. And if you don't ask for explanation, you may never understand them. One of them is the word Milo. If you come out from outside Buganda, even in Buganda, I'm not sure whether all of them understand. Especially these days when people buy land in decimal points. Actually, I would call it decimal tenure, not Milo tenure. Because it's really, the other Milo was this, but this one is, you need a microscope to look at it. Then we used to have what we used to call it a Kyapa, a chikakafu. I don't know whether some of you understand what that one is. Now we have what we call Kyapa Mungalo. We need a glossary of some of these words so that everyone appreciates. You know, when a foreigner meets a different word, first thing he is taken aback. Then he wonders, what is it, this new word? But I want to begin by saying, when you do a map of slums in Uganda, there is a correlationship between these slums and Milo land. There is a correlationship. But in effect, what it is that it's a manifestation of fear of eviction. People can't invest because they don't know what will come out tomorrow, whether an order will be issued and they will be on the run. So they will just put the little they can to stay for the night or the few days on the land. So the challenge, therefore, is that in these lands, potentialities are locked up. Very prime land in Kampala is holding a shack, land worth millions and millions of money, is holding a shack. The person emerging from this land is, in those days, would be putting on a kiraka on his trouser. Now, then you can ask yourself, what's the correlationship between that person and this land of this high value? So I think the challenge now really is, how can we guarantee security of tenure on these lands? How can we ensure that these people who stay there on these lands can sleep without that fear that they will be evicted? and that they can invest, and that their investments will stand the test of time, and that they can substantially invest in the land they own. Now, one of the vehicles for development of land is the leasehold. In the Land Act, the lease is defined in two ways. It has the lease which is made by contract, and then there is the other lease which the law deems to have been made. Now, one is negotiated, the other one is imposed by the law. We then have a provision where opportunity is given for the registered owner and the occupants on land to first formalize their relationship, document it, and then when they have documented, negotiate. How do they want to relate to this land? The two of them, how do they want to benefit? Under Section 35, they can buy each other out. The first option to purchase on a willing buyer, willing seller basis. Then we now also have Section 36, where they can go into a land sharing arrangement, where they can either subdivide the land, then one takes part, the other one takes the other, or they agree on a co-ownership arrangement, one as a co-owner or as a joint tenant. Then the other thing which was not mentioned is that they could actually agree to lease. They can agree on a leasehold, a lease agreement. Why not? Now, on this arrangement where we have Kyapa Mungalo, I would be very much interested in a few things. One of them is that this relationship should be a way of formalizing and securing the security of tenure of these people on the land. Two, that whatever is agreed upon should be registered and made registrable. We have registered some leases at the MZOs, and I've seen an electronic data card, but I'm more interested in the content. What is in that document in terms of defining this relationship, and that it should be something out of what we have already registered, that it should have a legal force in that sense. And then I want to see issues of land use regulation. This land which is so valuable and apparently useless, can we put it to some good use? Can we optimize its use? And can we optimize its value? We want that discussion to start from the point of making the agreement to lease to the point of having maybe regular sensitization, getting these new players, those who use just to loiter or hang around the land, to really now know that this land has commercial value. This land, they should benefit from it by investing and reaping the fruits of the investment. I want to see that the market, the land market, is initiated and starts growing and becomes vibrant to the point that they can easily deal with this land. If they want to sell it, they can sell it. If they want to mortgage it, they can mortgage it. If they want to lease it or sublease it, they can sublease it. When we have done that, then I can see ourselves moving towards what this topic is about a pathway to wealth creation. I can see us now starting to talk about modernization. What is the city we want, for example? Where at one time it was said that was it about 75% of this city was on Milo? And you have much of that is really either in informal settlements or slum, that we now start seeing transformation from that point of view. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Opio, for keeping time. And the questions you have asked, I think, are very pertinent. And at the opportune time, I will ask Mr. Chiwalabi Male to respond. Now, our final presenter is Madame Nachisozi Mastula, who has been a beneficiary of Kyapa Mungalo, and would like to hear what was your experience as you went through the process of getting Kyapa Mungalo. Tell us if there have been any benefits, if there have been any challenges. Do you think you would recommend Kyapa Mungalo for people? Please take the podium and share. Or you can sit here if you wish and share from here. There's a microphone. You have 15 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam. I'm called Mastula Nachisozi. I'm a grassroots human leader leading a community-based organization called Kawempe Home-Based Caregivers Alliance, based in Chisalo-Salo Zone, Chebando Parish, Kawempe Division. We did a research as grassroots many people. We tried to see how the Kyapa Mungalo process was moving, and we used one of the proper methods of land tools, which we call the gender evaluation criteria. This is a tool used to assess whether land policies and their implementation processes are responsive to the needs of both women and men, and also promote gender responsive and governance of land. We had our partners when we are doing this. We had the UN Habitat, Fire Commission, Ministry of Lands and Housing, and also we had Buganda Land Board. We decided to do this because there was a campaign moving around which was called Kyapa Mungalo. During that time, it was running for 6 months, and we had several meetings with our leaders. We were trained as evaluators, and we were 10 people from my organization who did the research. So we decided to go where there was the kingdom land that was in the parishes of Kawempe, like Waise 1, 2, 3, and Mulago 2. We were 10 evaluators. We first had meetings with our local leaders, and then we went to Buganda Land Board. We also had a meeting with them. So we went to the field. How did we carry out the research? We had face-to-face interviews with the community members in all those parishes, and we had 600 questionnaires divided among 10 people. We went asking several questions concerning Kyapa Mungalo, and these questions were coming from the 6 guiding questions of the gender evaluation criteria process which we are using. The first guiding question was about was the Kyapa Mungalo had equal participation by women and men and gender responsive governance. So some of the questions were coming from that guiding question. The second one was all about capacity building, organization, and empowerment of women and men to use and access and benefit from the tool. The third question was from legal and institutional consideration of women and men. We had some questions from social and cultural considerations in regards to women and men access to land. The fifth was about economic consideration in regard to women and men access to land. And the last, we got the questions from scaling up and coordinating and sustainability of the tool to reach more women and men. We had so many questions, as I have mentioned, and most of the people, after analyzing the research, we had our technical people who were coming from one of the organizations called Uganda Community-Based Association for Women and Children Welfare, in short UCOBAC, and also we had people from Act Together and Slum Dwellers Initiative. Most of the respondents said that Kyapa Mungalo was heard on radio and on TV, and most of the community members were not able to get more knowledge about what was all Kyapa Mungalo was all about. Some of them said that Kyapa Mungalo sounded good to them, but they had a fear that what will happen if the time of lease period will end, like if someone gets 49 years of lease and that time expires when he has left the world and maybe the children cannot afford to pay back, that is what will happen. So they had a fear that maybe their land would be taken by the Buganda kingdom. It was found that 96% of the respondents had not participated in community sensitization because they said that Buganda Land Board didn't go down to the community to sensitize people about what was all Kyapa Mungalo all about. That's why they were not getting it well. And others were welcoming the process because they said it is something which was binding their land tenure, and they would use that Kyapa Mungalo to access loans. That's what they thought. Majority of the respondents, that was 68%, said that both men and women have equal rights to access and enjoy the leasing titling process, which was Kyapa Mungalo, and only 2% did not have any perception about the process. Findings further revealed that 55% of the respondents were of the view that Kyapa Mungalo can resolve land disputes, and 43% were not in agreement about that issue. (72% of the respondents revealed that the tool Kyapa Mungalo cannot abolish the elimination, while 23% believed that the tool could end the discrimination because having a landowner's land rights secured through documentation by the Kyapa Mungalo process would be good to their security of land tenure. What did we get as benefits of Kyapa Mungalo through the process? Registration of women's rights through documentation was there. They also talked about the Kyapa Mungalo using it as a bilateral to get loans. Protection to women even after losing their partners, guaranteed by Kyapa Mungalo, so there would be loss eviction. And the majority of them believe that Kyapa Mungalo can promote economic empowerment. This can be used to economically develop the registered land, and it can add value to the land when you have that Kyapa Mungalo in your hands. 80% of the respondents, 81%, supported to extend the Kyapa Mungalo process, but putting mass community sensitization. This can also reduce on land conflicts between landlords and tenants. So that was also their view. So the recommendation we got from the research was that the community members were now 100% sure about the Kyapa Mungalo process, and they were asking for the extension of the Kyapa Mungalo since they knew all the benefits which would come with the Kyapa Mungalo process. But they were, besides, they were arguing to the Buganda Land Board to bring more sensitization strategies apart from using radios and TVs, unless they would use local community leaders to see that sensitization goes down to the community. The suggestions for Kyapa Mungalo which we got from the field was that grassroots communities, especially women, should monitor and evaluate programs and projects that are brought in communities, because it is our right as women, as grassroots women, and it builds our capacity. Thank you for listening, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Mastula. And I think that ends the presentations, and we are about to get into the question and answer session. But just to remind you a little bit, because we might, some of us might have lost track of where we are. Let me just summarize a little bit. Omukungu Kyewalabye Male talked about the rationale of the Kyapa Mungalo campaign. He talked about how it has strengthened the security of tenure. He told us about the process of acquiring titles under the Kyapa Mungalo, the benefits, the challenges, and he also made some recommendations on how the challenges could be handled. He also told us that the campaign is ongoing until the end of this year, 31st December 2018. Mr. Opio told us to familiarize ourselves with the various nomenclature regarding land matters in Buganda. He also said that slums and Milo are related. I don't know, Mkungu Kyewalabye Male, if you'll be able to respond something to that. And a few of the questions he asked regarding how to optimize value and use of land. And he emphasized the need for negotiated relations between the landlord and tenant going under the law. Mastula shared, we all know that gender is a cross-cutting issue, and every time we talk about issues of land, there is a perception that women tend to lose out. The session that came just before this one, right in this room, was about closing the gender gap. And I think the findings that they made using the gender evaluation criteria as a tool to evaluate the Kyapa Mungalo campaign showed that issues of inclusion and equity were taken into account. I hope that is a summary of what has happened here, and we can now please open the floor for discussion. Those who would like to contribute to this topic, please raise your hands, and we will give you 2 minutes maximum to make your point. Okay, I see a hand over there. Is there somebody to help us move the mic? Maybe you could come forward and speak at the podium.
OHT, I think. I'm called Michael Odeke. You can only get that name from the Morris land, that is Teso. There have been a lot of mysteries on the Kyapa Mungalo for us who don't, like our brother Kelo said. Opio, sorry. Kyapa. Now for us there, Kyapa is a raga. That's how we got it. So we currently, through GIZ, are explaining to our people from TESO about the land holding, what? The land holding, whatever stipulations by the law. So we have just been in passing talking to them that there's Milo, there is a freehold, there is a leasehold, then there is customary. And I want to admit that from explanations of the chairperson of the Buganda Land Board, we've gotten to know a little bit more. Because ITESO are here, actually are here. But what was hyped on the papers, I think, was something else. Now a little bit we understand it. It might be good for you in future. I would recommend, since everybody is here, all tribes of Uganda, maybe try to reach out to our His Highness Mori Papa ITESO, the road, just to give the minister the other side of land, to appreciate these dynamics. Because the way we got it there was like Kabaka is marking his land, and then afterwards, be careful, he might send his soldiers to. Now I understand, but I wanted to ask, I asked Michael Odeke, if I came here and got a Kyapa Mungalo for 49 years, and Mukwano comes languishing his money, can I also sublet that land to him maybe for 47 years?
Thank you very much for that question. The next person is there.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Again, I'm pushing the question to Oishti Wachwala Yomale. I'm Peter Kaira from Mugende. Buganda Land Board is responsible for all the land under the kingdom. I beg to be advised. Formerly, when Buganda Land Board was being established at independence or after independence, it was also responsible for the Emaira Kenda. But today, we are being told it is responsible for Kabaka's land. And what is this Kabaka's land? We have Kabaka's land as His Highness Kabaka. Then we have the official miles. The official miles, the Katikiro's land, the Omulamuzi, the Omwanika. Those big officers got land as official estates. And the county chiefs, the 8 square miles. Now, which of these descriptions does Buganda Land Board, is the Buganda Land Board responsible for? And you are saying it is now the Kyapa Mungalo is rolled out in Busiro and Chadondo. How about these other counties? When are you coming?
Thank you very much. There is a person at the back.
Thank you very much. With respect to His Highness the Kabaka of Buganda.
Maybe I can make a correction before we go forward. The Kabaka is not His Highness, it's His Majesty.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much. His Majesty, the Kabaka. The fear. If one has got a land lease for 49 years and has died, children are not able to proceed after 49 years to pay for a further lease, but they have assets, what will happen to such children? Or if not, they don't have even any asset, but they are there. Are they not going to be rendered landless? Thank you very much.
Thank you for that question. There is someone at the back raising their hand.
Thank you very much, Owechiba Mare, for the concern the Buganda government has made insofar as securing the security of tenure, especially for Chibanja holders on Buganda land. However, my concern, you mentioned about something to do with the automatic renewal of leases. What would happen in a situation the lease has expired, but in the meantime, someone has no consideration to pay for the renewal? Then, the other is about the timeline for which this campaign is ending. You said, by 31st December 2018, you're no longer entertaining registration of such interested holders. So does it mean that in case the date goes past, it is the end for those people? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Over here, then we shall go to this side.
Thank you so much, Owekitiibwa. My name is Reverend Apuli Brown Patrick from Kibale District. I'd like to concur with some of my colleagues for the submissions, and I don't want to repeat the same. But my concern on this is on the Mairo Akenda. Formerly it has been known that Mairo Akenda for Buganda includes part of the lost counties that make up Greater Kibale. So when you are talking of the Kyapa Mungalo, does the lost counties also appear in the system or not? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The people on this side, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. The ones, please get your numbers. Number 1 there, number 2, number 3, and number 4, and then we shall wind up.
For this opportunity, my name is Agula Joseph Ogoror. I'm from Teso as well, and I'm a beneficiary of the land board. I have interest in the land in Busiro. Yes, and I'm an active land actor in Teso and Karamoja. My interest in the campaign and the bigger issue, I think, was raised by the Commissioner, Registration Acting of PO. This land board of Buganda, of course, it's now almost a public utility, but then we know that just like with the government, the political consideration. The CEO says, 1, there's automatic renewal of the lease. I was jumping in my seat, say, wow, eventual innovation. However, as he was exiting, he said, so long as the leaseholder comes, we negotiate terms, and then that is the part that worries some of us. So long as they negotiate. And we're talking about Buganda and Kampala area, for instance, or Wakiso. That part, if we could help clarify, and I'm saying that part, a reflection of the issues of peer raised. They need to negotiate. We have the historical issues, Loros counties. Is it applicable also to that area? It was almost, for me, the innovation, the automatic renewal. You say there's a clause. But however, knowing the issues we're trying to address as a country, but also hearing over and over, I think Thetam said, the Kyapa helps you get economically better. I'm like, it is good, but there's a So the land board, please, can it do something more? That automatic renewal will be a real seller. Can your team really make it bold? And 2, can it survive when Our Majesty, the Kabaka of Buganda, is succeeded? Is it guaranteed? Or we shall bank on his or her what? Her Majesty's what? Wish by then, knowing the legal, what the Buganda board is. Can it survive? Have we really entrenched it? Such that when I signed for 99 years in the Busiro, I am aware that even if I go to heaven, it is secure. Right now, but
think
it's
your
good.
point is made. Thank you very much. Can we go to the next person?
Thank you so very much. My name is Samali Vuya, Community Pararigo Nachibanga. Allow me to ask in Uganda because we are on Kyapa Mungalo. Ekyama zima twogera ku Kyapa Mungalo kiri mu Buganda era ngenda kubuuza mu Luganda. Ensonga y'Ekyapa Mungalo nze kyensaba okutegeera bwe tujja nga bagenda okusurveyinga ekibanja omusurveyor akugamba nti buli eka ngenda gisa bwe tudda ku kyapa ekyapa ekyayiikeemu kiba kya ssente mmeka omuntu asinzira wamanye nti singa banyina acres 10 mba nteekeddwa kunoonya ssente bwe ziti okusobola okufuna Kyapa Mungalo neyanza nyabo.
Webale nnyo nyabo. We'll take that hand.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Topoth. I come from Karamoja. Mine is just to shed light, especially on the legal issues that pertain this country. Because Buganda, when you look at it and its management, it looks like it is the biggest animal within the game park. And it is very unique to handle. Like in much of the trainings, we see that the land in Buganda originates from how the Baganda or the Kabaka signed the agreement. Is it in 1900 and something? And yet, on that part, that's why I want light to be shed, because much of the land began being titled in 1908, according to the titles ordinance. And one of the things is, unlike others, you find that the Milo land system, as we have now said, it is now, I don't know, is it Bibanja, Suji, what? Now it is no longer in a mile, so it is just small micro vision, the Mr. Opios said. Now, my question is, in case that this land comes under fraudulent handling by people who may, we have always bypassers in every process. What legal redress mechanism does your board or Buganda Kingdom has got to hold through the land management? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think, okay, that one and that one there, and we close the question and answer session.
Yes, I'm Eric Mobazi. My question is simple. It goes to the Buganda Land Board. What's the way forward regarding those who deliberately refuse to take on the program Kyapa Mungalo? Do you plan to sue them? Do you plan to just leave them? What's the way forward?
Okay, thank you. Finally.
Subuga Joseph Mary, Chairperson Limias. I thank the Buganda government for the initiative of Kyapa Mungalo. I would like to know from the director what's Buganda's land board's plan for the Kabaka's people who don't sit on the Kabaka's land, but they are threatened by private mile owners. Is there a strategy also to protect these people because they also belong to the Kabaka, though they don't sit on the Kabaka's land? You may hear the Uganda government came up with a proposal of the land fund. Is there a plan for the Kabaka's Buganda Land Board, after protecting its land and its people on its land, that it would go further to buy off or to protect the Kabaka's people on other private mile in a way of helping them? 2, buying a lease, you said it's a voluntary option. But as far as we know, some of us are very poor, could not afford the money for buying a lease. Yet we own Bibanja on Kabaka's land. The law provides for...
that question has been asked.
Securing a certificate of occupancy.
I'm sorry, I think that question was asked by the previous person regarding what happens to people who do not apply for leases on Kabaka's land. Isn't that the question you're asking?
No, I'm saying, is the Buganda Land Board, will it abide with the national law which allows a tenant to be given a certificate of occupancy?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, because all the questions went to Omkungu Chiwala Biemale, I think I will give you about 10 minutes to explain to the public, and then I'll give the opportunity to the other speakers to do wrap up.
Thank you, Madam Owechitiibwa, and thank you various members for these questions. I will apologize. I've got a presentation to make again about land in Namasuba, Rotary meeting at 7. But quickly, let me say this. We appreciate all the questions which have been raised, and that shows you the alertness and the sensitivity of the matter of land. I'll start with that popular view by in government circles that wherever you find a slum, that is Mailo land. Kasokoso, I don't think is Mailo. And there are quite a number I can mention. But it's simply, Mr. Commissioner, people in the system are running out that planning is a government function. Right? Members, you agree there? Planning is a government function. And I think it was some American who said, one American president said that government is nothing else but force. If it fails to do something, just know it doesn't want. If it says today, none of us will enter Kampala, today, I assure you, Kampala will be empty. And you have seen it. So some of these things, when the president said that we are declaring the whole country a national planning area, this is what we are saying. So planning is a government function, but we must respect these plans. Uganda is the only place where everybody puts up anything and anywhere. The technocrats are saying this, the politicians are saying this. So, mile, yes, mile is about ownership, like any other form of land tenure system. But it does not refuse government to plan to remove these slums. Government took away Namuongo slum. Namuongo was a slum. But what happened? People moved from Namuongo and set up another slum next to eh? These are things. So when people move and they set up another slum, it's the government enforcement. You're supposed to say, wait a minute. You are in a wrong what? Wrong area. So slums are quite important. The government and the various stakeholders who are owning the various the land system to get a dialogue. What do we want where? When we say we have an industrial area, what is there? When we have got these agricultural zones, all of you know, I think you have heard about these zones. But what's happening? They say my area of Singo, where my brother Suga comes from, they say that part was gazetted Kulima Kayinja, Bichi. But who knows it? So this, I think, within, Mr. Commissioner, the government needs to take up this matter. The issue of mile in Mbarara, there is no mile. Mile is largely anywhere in Buganda. Do you want to tell me that Buganda is the only area with the slums? No. It is a planning what? Aspect. Let the government come out with the plans and let the the good thing with the planning, you consult the what? The owners. We have never refused any planning for Boys. We have never refused any planning for Katwe, neither Makerere Chivulu. We are waiting, Mr. Commissioner. Let the government produce these plans, and we discuss and we have the dialogue. So it's something which normally comes up. But sometimes somebody was saying, sometimes we feel in Uganda it's just a ploy to talk about mile so that the government can have measures on what? Mile. Most of the Kampala Land Board is not mile land, but is it developed anyway? So I'll stop at that. But the issue of slums is a government function, it's a planning function, but it must involve the various stakeholders. Yes, sublease. Yes, you can get a sublease on top of a lease, and we have them in the Buganda Land Board. You can have your lease, but also go and negotiate with somebody. You can also have condominium titles. The ministry now allows us, if you build a building like this one, you can give a title on the next floor, and you agree on how to share the space. These are kind of innovations which are coming out of the ministry to ensure that people have got this kind of, they can enjoy also some kind of rights. The BLBS was set up in the 60s by an act of parliament to manage the land which had been returned to the kingdom under the federal arrangement. However, with the 1966 crisis, that arrangement stopped. In 1993, when land was restored, returned to Kabaka. Kabaka set up again the Buganda Land Board, now not by an act of parliament, but as a corporate body to manage the land which had been returned to the kingdom. And in that agreement of 1993, it says this land which has been returned, the 350, the Rubiri, the Basiro, will be managed under the same arrangement. And further, the land which will be coming to Buganda Kingdom subsequent to further negotiations will be also managed by Buganda Kingdom. So even that land, even if it comes from Kenda, Buganda Kingdom puts it under Buganda Land Board to manage it. But what is important is to manage it according to the law. If this land is returned, you can't wake up and say, let people go. You must allow people to enjoy the rights they have been sharing. And that's how we have been able to proceed. Busiro Chadondo. Yes, it was a pilot for Chadondo Busiro, all Kampala and Wakiso, but later expanded. We have had titles from Masaka, we have got titles from Luwero. There are a number of areas opened up, but originally the attention was for Wakiso and Chadondo. I won't tell you that time. If we had even hinted on going to Mitiana, we would have seen the debate. So we could not have all that kind of moving to various areas. But people petitioned and moved to those areas and are getting the titles. Yes, children, if they fail to pay 49 years, 99 years, we have said automatic renewal. What I mean by automatic renewal, to get the title again. Currently, you have got this title through a payment system, right? So the same payment system will apply then. However, what will be different under normal lease, when it expires, it does not automatically come to you. This is the difference. Now you automatically get it, but you have to pay like you did. In case you fail to pay, you continue being a Chibanja holder on that land. So, 99 years from now, if people now are getting titles now, and the 99 years, I don't think people still want to be Chibanja holders when they have been holding titles. But once your children fail to get money to pay, certainly they'll go back to Chibanja holding. But I normally tell people that people who cannot pay for this type of enjoyment they have been having, over 99% of the chances are they are going to sell. So, my friend, my brother, as you are living either in heaven or hell, be assured that your business on the earth has ended. So if you want to continue ruling while you are dead, it's a different matter. The people who will be there at that time, if they cannot fight for them what they have got for free, please note, for you have sweated to buy it, people have got it for free, they cannot do what? They cannot renew, and you are worried. I want to assure you, those people will not even have to be forced off, but they will sell even long before, even you won't take long, they will sell. So the most important job as you are buying this land, as you are ensuring that Kabaka does not evict them, make sure you educate them and you empower them. That's the only way. The rest I cannot assure you. So I say it again, automatic renewal. If they cannot pay for the titles, they'll go back to Chibanja holding, but I don't know the laws of the Chibanja holdings. Then, 99 years from what? From now. It's the same thing somebody says, those who don't want titles. People want titles, but they can't afford. I normally say this, I'm not a preacher, but there's always a time for everyone. Buli muntu alina ekiseera kye eky'okuyitibwa. Eri abawulirirawo eddoboozi, eri abaliwulira wiiki ejja, eriyo n'abataliwulira. Eriyo n'abalinza okunegotiatinga nga. Somebody else said in 1908, Buganda chiefs and some families were given offers to survey land and get titles. Over 70% returned the land. They never surveyed it. That's why people like Kabusuya in Indeba almost goes up to Ruera. For him, he surveyed and got a title. So, I think in 1920s, that's when they started giving titles. But even up to now, so many years after, you don't have 1 million titles. So that means not everyone at every time will be able to get a title. But for us, we must put there an enabling environment. That's what can, and everybody should enjoy the rights where he all is, she is. If you're a Chibanja holder, work well with your landlord. If you're a title holder, a lease holder, a service holder, customer holder, all these are protected by law. So never worry for what you cannot get. Worry for what you cannot get, but you can't access it. 31st December, yes, we are ending the Kyapa Mungalo, that is the subsidized arrangement. And you go back to the normal way. We used to from the 1993, we have been giving titles under that kind of arrangement. 10% charged on premium, on capital value. We'll go back, but now we have been charging almost like a 2%. There's always a time, promotions, when they come, an opportunity comes to somebody who is already prepared. That's why we went for those who had surveyed. Reverend, lost counties. I don't think we have done any sensitization in Chibali. I don't think we have seen any Buganda Land Board staff there. And for now, we would live like that. Even I tell you, even people in Wakiso are calling me. They are saying, please ensure we stay in Wakiso. Then you find me in Chibali, even when I've not even done business here. So for now, our plate is what? Is full. But the politics and the over the done what will determine those things. But for us, we have no urgency. But those who have got titles and they are having them lawfully, I think they are free to exercise their rights. 9,000 square miles, yes, we manage whatever the government returns to us through an agreement. We can't manage what has not been done to us. Legal rights are enshrined in the agreement. Somebody says, yes, supposing this Kabaka passes on, the covenant between you and the landlord is enshrined in the agreement. And that's what the law enforces. So it's not for the current Kabaka, but even for those who come in, they must respect those agreements. You can't say that I was not here during 1962 when we were getting independence. There's that agreement which was done at that time. So the successive regimes have been enforcing that. So the same will apply. So no worries. The legal arrangements, and that's why when we take to lands, they check these things. Are they tight? Are they, what is it? Can we see the covenants? And when you go in your title, you always find a copy of the agreement. And the copy remains in lands. So all these are ensuring that you can no longer act alone. Yes, the king is His Majesty. But when it comes to rights of land and what, it becomes the law. And we are law-abiding citizens as a law-abiding institution. Survey fees. A survey fees, munango wena chibanga. Ebye mwendo gy'okupunta, Buganda Land Board teginaako nnyo byakwogera. Kubanga ebyo obukonge obeera bwa gavumenti. Wabula abasaveeya nabo bafunayo ze bakoledde. Wano bwe tuba tuli wano gavumenti ekyajinga ndowooza nga mutwalo gumu 1,200 z'osasule mu gavumenti okufuna pulinti. Naye njagala nkuwa emitwalo 10 okandeetere. Sobola n'okwongeramu n'ondeetera 10. So kungulu wano tubyogerawo bityo nga binyuma. Yani risiiti bw'ozirabako eza survey gumu 2,800 naye kakwata ogireete pulinti. So that one is a different matter. But I know with various sensitizations, I know the government is carrying out some massive survey in some selected areas. I know they did in Mbale, they have done in Rukunjiri, and some other areas I can't. And we have been asking government, and I don't want to ask it Mr. Opio because I know his role. For him is to sign what is taken there to ensure that it's within the law. But we are saying, if there is more land conflict in what? In Buganda, can't we get the same? Can't also people get that kind of arrangement? Where the government can pick an area and say, we are going to do a massive survey in that area. All where people feel we need it, but mwanyi nazo ina chibanga. Naffe tubyagala government byekoze Rukunjiri Mbale wa epairotige kwa neba dete binabaawo. Ate nga conflict ezisinga ziri luddawa ziri wano. Nolwekyo wabeerawo aba government bakubira omulanga nti bwe muyiteyo mu batugambireko kine mu Buganda baagalako okupunta okw'obwereere nga kwe mukozeeko awalala. Legal redress, yes. Everything, if within our management, if somebody does something wrongly, we are not immune. We can be taken to court, we can be punished, and we do it. Whenever something comes up, we don't condone it. We act swiftly on those issues, but when we have got the necessary evidence. What's the way forward? Those who do not embrace titles now, this is what I'm doing. Continuous sensitization. I've told you that I have to work like a preacher every day, expecting to get people today, all others to wait at the gate of heaven. So this is what we do every day. Every day. We have been in Kasau with the Ministry of Lands. We have been in Mubenda with the Ministry of Lands. We'll continue doing that kind of sensitization. This is a willing buyer, willing seller. Kasanda, munasingo munange nkusaside. But we can only continue advocating. Where we are approached by the various people who are affected, we can give support. We can approach the various offices. But what is important is people to understand and interpret the Land Act. That's where the issue is. If all of us, by the way, the Land Act put all of us at standstill. You must do your persuasion to move somebody. Tosobola kusala ku kibanja kya muntu ng'omuwaako. You can't. Babikole eyo. But that's just ignorance. Somebody must consent to live, as also you must consent to sell. There is no way. We are at standstill. You can only evict because of non-payment of Busu, but even the procedure is long. So by the time you finish court, somebody has already paid the Busu. So I think just need to, with the various leaders, to sensitize the people. People are being evicted, but I also see some people being evicted, and I don't see any sign of a document they are showing to anyone. I don't want to talk much about it, but this must stop. That's why the Buganda Land Board is going ahead to give the certificates to people who have registered. If in 1920 our grandfathers were registering their land, in 2018, Somebody say ekibanja kyange kiyita wali ku kiswa ne kiyita ku muvule ne kiyita ku mupaapaali. Oh God. Mujja kulaba nnyo ku TV kaseera nga abantu bakyakaaba. Lastly, certificate of occupancy. Yes, that one the law puts it to government, those who are on public land. But for us, we have provided a sample on private holding. Because you can't wake up unless you are verified who is the Chibanja on my land and issue a certificate of what? Occupancy. I want to tell you the conflicts will even be higher. But we can still, we are working with the government where we need to make sure that we work together. Land fund, yes. I've complained about this. The other day when people were in the commission, people were complaining about land fund money. And who have taken it are not just anywhere near these people. So we are saying, and simply saying, that even people here in Uganda need this land fund to sort themselves out. And I have been saying, and I will say it again, the only way to stem into trying to curtail the land evictions and land conflicts by empowering the people. Either we give them money at soft loans, those we feel they are very, very vulnerable, or we support their economic activities so that they buy themselves out, or we have a good working relationship with the landlord. And for us in the Buganda Land Board, we have gone for the last one, to ensure that there is a good working relationship with the people. I've told you, over 80 million people are on Kabakazi land. You cannot evict those people. And you'll never. And only less than 1% on Kabakazi land have got titles. What will happen to the 99? So we can't. We just need a harmonious kind of relationship. Also to ensure that people pay busuru. The government has set up an arrangement to pay busuru. And it is regulated by the Minister of Lands. And the Buganda Land Board will collect it. In Masaka, people are paying only 2,500 annually for their chibanja, busuru. And we take it. That's the law. In Kampala, I think, and Nasana, either 30,000 and 50,000, and we take it. That's the law. But we wait at that time also when you want also to exchange for higher value, say, police can also share the consent. And that's what we are doing. I thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity you have given us, and we'll continue to be wherever we are needed to ensure that we sensitize the people. That's why we are doing it in Uganda. We are doing it in the diaspora as well. We believe in talking, and dialogue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I have given Omukungu Chwala Bemale a lot of time, not because we come from the same institution, but because that's where the questions you raised were directed. Now, can I ask Commissioner Robert Opio to wind up, please, and give us some closing remarks on this?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I want to begin with the remark on massive survey, the need for it in Buganda. There are different types. Maybe this question is to do with occupancies and maybe blue pages, but the whole of Buganda was surveyed. So maybe the question would be, how can we get blue pages surveyed? Because blue page represents unsurveyed land, and then occupancies on Milo land. Of course, the other problem, again, occupancies would be a survey on top of a survey. That would mean that the two must have to agree, the occupants and the registered owner, before that can happen. So normally what happens, it's on a case-to-case basis. For it to be systematic, I think something big has to happen in terms of maybe some agreement where we'll say the community of this area have agreed that there should be such a survey. Then on the problem of survey, the money for survey, when we were in Kasese, the bankers had a product where they would give loans of up to about 2 million for survey of land under occupancies, under customary ownership, with a view to conversion. Maybe what might be necessary here is for that approach to be explored, whether bankers can enter into this arrangement so as to facilitate. It's on a loan basis, maybe payable in about 1 year or 2 years, about 2 million shillings. Then the other thing which I want to say is about relating slums and Milo. The question was, how do we, according to the topic, how can we go into wealth creation? And then I was saying there is fear out there which is perpetuating underdevelopment of land. And when you go into the map of slums in Uganda, act together as that map, you will see the location of the slums. It is not that Milo per se creates slums, but it's the relationship that because those people entered there, either their entry was not guaranteed, they are not secure. That security of tenure has to be guaranteed. Even if you create a plan, who is going to implement that plan? Unless you say the person in occupation, the user, is involved in the process of implementing that plan will not work. So that person must first be guaranteed security of tenure that is going to, one, own the process and that is going to benefit from it and that he can invest substantially. That was the discussion. So I want it to be understood in that manner, that there is a way in which Kampala has developed. For us to unlock what has happened, we need to address the issue of security of tenure. I want to thank, to stop there in terms of remark, but then I've been given the other responsibility of making closing remarks. First of all, I want to thank the organizers. I've seen it's behind there. There are many of them. The funders, organizers. This really is a needed event, which we could even have it yearly. Because really the land question is a question which needs discussion. Sometimes the problem is not that there is a problem, but the problem might be that there is a misunderstanding. What are the issues? Can we discuss them? Can we get a way around them? When we start discussing, when we start even defining words, it will be one way in which we'll get towards solving the problem of the land question in Uganda. That we have sat on it so long, it's like sitting on fire. It has burnt us, but we need to stand up and say what is causing that fire. We need to look down there. And I believe when we look down there carefully, we will see what the cause of that fire is. For this evening, I also want to thank myself and my fellow panelists and the chairperson. The thing of Milo land is a big question mark. Right from the start, the 1900 agreement, people talk in terms of lamentation. How did these people take our land? How did they, there's a lot of lamentation. But we need to discuss it. Somewhere, somehow, a writer said, yes, it was a terrible injustice. But it has happened, and over the time, people have sold off. if they still held it, perhaps there would be a difference in that no one would be buying land now, but people are buying land. There is a market which has evolved. There are subdivisions have occurred. We have a land market. Looking back in the past is very painful, but let us look at the future. What is there to gain out of what has happened? Can we see when the land market occurs and people start building and we start seeing free movement of people, free, we can come here, I can come and sleep here, I can go to Mbarara, I can go to Gulu, or in houses which have been built out of these lands. We should be in position to be proud of that. But of course, there is that nostalgia. Some of the land could have belonged to someone. Some of the lands could have belonged to a clan. Some clans are saying, but that was ours. I think there should be a time when you should say, can we have a cutoff point and we move forward? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for having come today. The conference is continuing tomorrow and another day. Please come back and participate fully. Thank you very much. With that, I wish to close this function for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you all for the patience. We have just a few administrative announcements. I'll start with communication, and then I will invite Helen Nakandi to make other administrative announcements. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Benna. And ladies and gentlemen, I congratulate you for such a wonderful day of deliberating on a very important topic of land in Uganda. Once again, I want to appreciate all of you who sent me a WhatsApp. It's now a fact that we have created another channel called the National Land Forum on WhatsApp, which is a conversation going forward. Thank you so much for all of you that sent me a message. If you're not in this group, please do this. Write down this number, 0755 140 292. 0755 140 292. For those of you in the group already, we've shared the Facebook Live because this event was live on Facebook, meaning it's been global. For Ugandans within Uganda and in the diaspora, the number is 0755 140 292. Now, this is what happens. Uganda has got over 46 million people, and usually events like this, which convene such a smaller number of that population, conversations would sometimes end into such a room. This is how we can make it happen for our friends, family that were not able to make it in this room. Send me a WhatsApp to that number. I share the link to those Facebook and YouTube links where the videos are. We can send you some photos. We can send you materials of the PPTs that have been shared here so that you can share, because it's an information age, okay? Now, the other one is this conversation can continue throughout any time, 24/7. A number of questions were not answered here, but you can still ask your question. Look out for that Facebook page. It's called the National Land Forum. Please look out for that one, the National Land Forum. And then in the WhatsApp group, there are admins from LandNet and other conveners in the WhatsApp group. So keep your questions going through. We have a Twitter handle which is LandForum18. LandForum18 with a Twitter logo. you can still tweet your question, or you can tweet what you have learned from this conference, so that the public, your family, friends, and others can benefit from what you've learned today or what you have deliberated. Thank you so much. Okay. This is an announcement to all participants who are officially invited by Action Aid. You are asked to meet the lady there on the table, along the first table, the extreme end there on the right-hand side. Action Aid participants invited by Action Aid, the first table on the extreme right over there, you meet the lady. Thank you so much. Please.
Thank you. Civil peace participants and land matrix participants, please see Vincent Hassa here in the left corner. Thank you.